turn of events that shocked many. The withdrawal of Nigerian troops from the government girls' comprehensive senior secondary school in Maga, Kebbi State, just before the kidnap attack unfolded. The district head of Maga confirmed that the military left the school premises approximately 45 minutes before the abduction, sparking concerns and investigations into the circumstances surrounding their withdrawal and raising questions about whether the departure of the troops was a deliberate act or a mistake. Governor Nasir Idris is demanding explanations for the abrupt withdrawal, and Nigeria's defense headquarters has initiated an investigation, summoning all military personnel stationed at the school for interrogation. The incident has sparked suspicion, outrage, and calls for accountability at the National Assembly.
We are being told every day to be patriotic. We are being told here that we shouldn't say anything against. We are being told that, oh, you shouldn't talk about the past. You should focus on the present. Yet, on this floor, rather than focus on what we are supposed to talk about, we go back to say, oh, during 2015, oh, the Chibok girls happened, and oh, we are now rescuing people. People were not rescued at that time. During Chibok, 17 local governments in Katsina were not having parleys with bandits. People in Kebbi were not leaving all the rural areas and coming to only the urban areas to stay. People in Niger were not being kidnapped. So why do we need to, at any time we need to talk about the present issues of today, we go back to start to look for excuse for our failures of today? I only want to say, let us do the right thing. We're not blaming this government for what they are finding itself, but it is the government in power, and they should do the right thing. What are the right things? We take only one example. The governor of Kebbi said that somebody ordered troops out and people were kidnapped. Till today, nobody in Nigeria knows what happened, and no question has been asked. And we're sitting down here as a parliament, and we turn and we talk. Yet, somebody is responsible. If I'm the commander-in-chief, I will call the army commander in that place and the head of the army and say, if you don't get me the head of this person who withdrew the troops to put all these children in jeopardy, then you make an example of him. That is how a country is run. A country is not run on pacification. A country is run on confronting issues. I rest my case.
Senator Sen.Abaribe. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the man whose rather feisty comments you heard there, Senator Abaribe, who's a member of one of the opposition parties in the National Assembly, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, or APGA. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, needless to say, that was a feisty delivery by you on the floor of the Senate. Obviously, this issue of the withdrawal of troops from the school in Kebbi State 45 minutes before the kidnappers struck is a smoldering issue. Did you do that angry performance deliberately? Did you want people to hear the sort of frustration the whole thing was generating for you, or was it spontaneous?
I think it was, let me just say it was spontaneous, and I was just angry. I mean, what you would call righteous anger. Reason is that this was not the first time we've been hearing that there has been some type of collusion between the security people and what happens. You know, villagers have said that, oh, they will tell the security people and they disappear, and then these people will strike, and then immediately after they will come back.
Well, to be fair, we don't know that it's collusion.
Well, that is the point. We don't know. So I was really angry, because the point really is this: how does a government operate this way? This sense that, okay, let's try pacification, what they euphemistically call non-kinetic. It's nothing but paying someone just to enable him to come back tomorrow and do even worse things. So my anger stemmed from the fact that this is the Nigerian army that had actually imposed peace in areas where there were all these guerrillas and all that in West Africa. And we are part of, at any point that Nigeria is part of any international contingent, they always come first. And the history is there. And I just cannot, or I couldn't, reconcile the fact that a Nigerian army is now being portrayed as being, and I think about a week or so before then, there was this story of a major general, a brigadier general that was killed, Uba. And so
terrible.
It makes us seem helpless, and I felt that from the way the debates were going among us, maybe the import of what actually we are confronting was not properly assimilated by my colleagues. So, well, I think that maybe now that we have seen steps being taken by the government and all that, and every other person speaking up.
I have to say that reaction that you had in the National Assembly, it touched a lot of people, including the President of the Senate.
Of course.
Who said he was associating himself with the comments
precisely.
that
you know why I've said that? There is something that has kind of developed within our polity now, where whenever you give any sincere advice, a sincere criticism, you say, oh, maybe this was a better way. Oh, you're seen as an enemy.
Indeed.
You want to pull down this government.
Absolutely.
And so that now
that is very wrong.
It's very, very wrong. That's not a democracy. It makes a lot of people who have things to offer now shrink back because they're not so sure that they will not be misunderstood in this way. And I think that
that's a very good point.
That those people who do all this, trying to impress Mr. President, are not doing him a favor. Because for a government to succeed, it will not only be the yes men that will make them succeed. A government succeeds because you now take
on board, from
everybody. And then, I just give one simple example. During the time of President Obasanjo, he hired someone as one of his special assistants. Name is Dr. Stanley Makebu. He was hired as a contrarian. So when issues come up and people are going this way, he goes the other way in order to give the other sense so that everybody understands that everybody should not pull in one
playing the devil's advocate,
precisely. That's what he used to do.
He
was a contrarian in government, playing the devil's advocate and all that. And Obasanjo let him do that because he needed him. So we have now come to the point where some type of sickening sycophancy has now permeated the whole thing, and so everybody is a choir, a member of the choir. If you're not singing in one direction, you're seen as an enemy of the government. I'm not an enemy of the government. That's why I emphasized that we do not blame the government. They made this. But then, when you take an oath of office and say, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, do it. You don't come in and then you continue to pamper and say, let me just continue going after all when my turn comes. And then the country continues to go down the abyss.
So, and obviously telling the truth about what the scale of a problem is, as you correctly pointed out, is the first step you take before you can think of what the correct solutions are.
Should be, yes.
So you were really frustrated, you were disappointed, we could see it, and it came across as very genuine. I mean, that's what drew people to it. You know, when you were suggesting that the Senate was being told not to say anything against the failures
No, that's what I was saying.
today.
I mean, you say anything, oh, then there's so much brickbat thrown at you.
Yeah, but it was the
and people
frankness
actually will get
behind
up
the way
and
you
start
said
to say something just for the cameras, so that the villa will see them as defending the government. They're actually not defending the government, they're actually ruining
but
the government.
Just moving on from there and returning to that story about the withdrawal of troops. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, given that there is a hierarchy of command in the army. Obviously, the troops were deployed to that location through an order and would have been withdrawn through an order. So, I mean, technically, I don't know what you think, but it shouldn't be a complicated probe, but a straightforward question about who gave the order.
Who gave the order?
Yeah.
It's so straightforward that you don't even need to think about it. I mean, that was why I was why do we need to argue about this? There's a commander there. There's, like you said, the hierarchy is there. Fishing out that person is the easiest thing in the world. Because what it connotes, that a lack of action by the government or by the military authorities and the bearing of all those things, we now connote to or give the impression to the public that there is collusion somewhere.
Absolutely.
And okay, if we feel that there is collusion somewhere, so who is safe? Who is safe? It means that I cannot now be sure that even if there are troops around me, that I can be safe. How can you not be you are no longer sure that even the troops around you can just hand you over and then you become a victim? That is just the point. There comes a time in a country's life in which this I don't know how I will put it now, but I will say we must stop the obfuscation, dissemblance and all that. We must start telling the truth. We must confront things as they are. And if you don't do that, how are you going to solve the problem? So we have had this problem all the way from the Jonathan time, all the way coming all the way down, to this, and it gets worse. It gets worse. I mean, it looks as if somebody just sitting somewhere and just saying, okay, let the whole country go to blazes.
Right, but I mean, in terms of this particular investigation, I mean, it's all right to leave it to the army because they have their own internal processes of carrying out those kinds of investigations. And what if in the end they decided that it's not a good idea to make whatever the result is public, and that if you like, to protect the image of the army?
That may well be so, but you send a wrong picture to the public.
Signal.
The signal to the public will now be that, people can just be put in jeopardy and nothing will happen. Because people have always waited. This is not the first time investigations have been done to see what is the response, what happens, so the way that information is being given out to reassure the public that you are on top of the situation is not there. That is just the fact.
But it is important to maintain public trust in the army. So if, for example, you go and say that, so and so happened, I mean, it could potentially negatively affect the public trust.
No, actually, to maintain public trust,
or you think
if somebody is being punished,
right,
then the public
will inspire the public and say, right,
yes,
okay.
it will inspire the public. At least an action is being taken.
Do you think?
And like I said,
yeah,
this is the best army in Africa, and I continue to say it. There's something obviously going on. And when we interact with them, because we interact with the military people, we interact with those who work with them and all that, and they are just that thing. That's a question of political will. I think President Obasanjo alluded to it the other day in just, I mean, you must have the will to fight. There must be that burning desire. When you take an oath of office, just like we have all taken, it is to do your best for this country. That's just it.
But I mean, obviously the National Assembly has oversight capacity over the army. At the very least, should the National Assembly, can it ensure that military personnel are held to account for their actions as a result of that oversight capacity, and ensure that measures are taken to prevent similar incidents in the future?
Actually, coincidentally, within this period, the National Assembly is on doing, as part of its duty, doing security summits.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that summit in a minute. Yeah.
So it's coincidental that at the same time, it's also happening. So we're going to wait for the report.
Right.
And I'm sure part of the report will be the measures that will be taken to ensure that such a thing never.
Right, but you don't think the National Assembly should take its own steps to investigate that withdrawal?
There are committees. There's a committee for military, for the Army, Air Force, Navy, and defense staff and all that. And the committees are up and doing. I'm sure they will also interact with the military to say, hey, Nigerians are feeling very bad about this.
And of course, those abducted students and their families, they belong to constituencies that have representation at the National Assembly.
Precisely.
Are there attempts to ensure that support is being provided to the abducted students and their families and all the rest of it?
I'm sure that our colleagues who have their constituents and all that, because we interact with each other and everybody is worried. You could see the other senators when they spoke and the passion with which
shouldn't
they
that be
spoke.
something that's being talked about volubly on the floor of the Senate? Just like you talked about the issue of...
Well, let's put it this way. When committees work, they come back to the Senate with reports. So maybe in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, we'll see their reports, and that will give us an insight into their interactions with these agencies.
But I mean, given your experience as a senior member of the National Assembly, a senator who's been there for quite some time, do you think that given all that's going on at the moment, the abductions, the terror attacks, the Trump threat, the declaration of a security emergency, discussions around state police, the security summit you're talking about, you know, not just here but in various parts of the country, do you think all that has heightened that long overdue conversation about insecurity?
Of course.
And more than ever, the chance of a lasting solution is greater now than since this government came to power 2.5 years ago? Or is there a sense that there's a lot of flailing about, basically?
Well, let's just put it this way. I think that there's movement.
There's greater urgency.
Now there's an urgency now, and there's everything that we can see something going on. We just want to see some clarity at the end of the day to say we're going to do A, B, and C, and not just a general talk and then we just leave it.
And you're going to keep snapping at their heels.
Obviously, we're not going to let anybody rest. The job of those of us who are in the opposition is that we put your feet to the fire at all times.
Well, beyond the opposition, the job of the National Assembly is to oversight the executive.
The point of the part of the job of the National Assembly is oversight the executive. Yes.
Indeed, and it would not be unfair, would it, to say that many people in different parts of this country have been broken again and again by this issue of insecurity. The resilience of Nigerians that is well known has been tested to the limit by the brutality of all of this. Are you satisfied, as I said, that all is being done and that the political will, because I mean there's a lot of stuff going on, but is the political will there to end the problem?
For me, part of the stuff going on is okay, let's just talk so that people will not bother us. What we are saying, silly, is that we need to see those concrete steps. We need to see timelines and what you do to reach those timelines. What you do, what are they, all those things that you will have to. We need to see areas that are cleared and there is no more insurgency in those areas. We don't just, as we were just saying that, we are containing this one here, then another thing happens.
Right.
As they were talking about, these people in KB being released, then there's another one that happened in Niger. No, hardly has we, gotten to grips with 200 and something students in Niger State. There's something else happening in Kano and all that. So there's a sense, and of course, what do we get from government spokesmen? They want to bring down our government, this and that. Look, I do not think that the blame game, which is why I was really angry that day, is what we solve the problem. What do we solve the problem really? Is that, okay, so somebody wants to bring down your government, so you remove that prop from him. And the way to remove that prop is that you solve the problem.
Indeed. But let me ask you this, because another issue, I don't know how much that affects you, is this issue of the removal of police from VIPs. You are clearly a VIP. How does that affect you?
These cosmetic things. Of course, I don't use police.
You mean you never have?
Well, we were all offered. I didn't use.
But is that being withdrawn from you now?
The reason that nothing is being withdrawn from me, because you have to have it first. But that's not really the point. How do you secure a community? That is the real issue.
But if you've got a lack of boots on the ground and you have over 11,000 police officers doing jobs where they could be deployed somewhere else, that's a significant thing, isn't it?
Well,
to take them and redeploy them.
Maybe you can ask the police authorities who feel that withdrawing them will make people safer. How does that make people safer?
No. What we're saying is that they're taking them to the areas where there's greater threat.
Well, okay, so someone has not been in combat situation for years.
Well, that's why they said they give the crash
that means you have to give the person fresh training. You have to let him know how to do this thing. So you have to reorient.
But you have to do something. We're in a crisis situation, and there's got to be short, medium term, long term.
Well, we're looking and we're waiting for the results of these actions.
Now, the Senate, I think you mentioned that earlier, was supposed to open its security summit today. Tell us what it's aiming to achieve in terms of impact. Is it a summit that will deliver something tangible or a sort of hyped up talking shop?
No, it's not hyped up.
You've complained about talking shops.
Precisely. But for the Senate, it was also because of the incessant cries about insecurity that the Senate, after doing it and reviewing it, we also agreed that maybe we shouldn't just leave it in the hands of the military to tell us, we're doing A, B, and C. Can we engage with both the community, the government, the military, the police, and the other allied agencies in the different geopolitical zones? Because maybe what is affecting a geopolitical zone may not be the same thing in another one, so that we can have a comprehensive view and also bring it back to government. Because whatever you do in the legislature, no matter what you do, by the time the reports come out, you have to put it to the head of the government to say, we suggest that A, B, and C are done. And then we also wanted to ask questions. Trillions here going here, trillions going there. Our job also is to say, have you put these funds to the best use for the interest of the country? And that is why that Security Summit was initiated and is currently being done by the Senate.